In the quiet solitude of my home, I always thought I was safe. But that changed one fateful night when I encountered something beyond the realm of understanding. The shadow people. Unseen entities that existed on the fringes of reality. They brought a terror that would forever haunt my nightmares. It was a stormy evening, rain pelting against the windows like impatient fingers. The house creaked in response to the gusting wind, and I wrapped myself in a warm blanket, seeking solace in the familiarity of my living room. The TV flickered with a muted glow, casting shifting shadows on the walls. As I settled on the couch, a sense of unease began to creep over me, a feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes peering from the darkness. I chalked it up to my imagination, trying to dismiss the sensation as a mere trick of my mind. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it, a shape darker than the shadows themselves, a figure that seemed to stand just beyond the reach of the lamplight. My heart raced, and I turned my head, expecting to find nothing but an empty room. Instead, I was met with a chilling sight. A silhouette, distinct against the backdrop of darkness, stood there, its form shifting and undulating as if made of smoke. Panic surged through me, and I blinked hard, thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me. But when I opened them again, the figure remained, its presence unmistakable. Fear gripped me, a primal instinct urging me to run, to escape this unseen horror. But my body felt frozen in place, as if the very air had turned to ice. The shadow person didn't move, didn't make a sound. It simply stood there, an enigmatic presence that defied logic. I could feel its gaze on me, though it lacked discernible eyes. Its form seemed to flicker, shifting in and out of focus, as if it existed in a dimension beyond my comprehension. As minutes stretched into eternity, I finally found my voice, shaky and uncertain. "Who? What are you?" I whispered, my words barely audible over the howling wind. No response came, only an oppressive silence that seemed to press against my chest. The shadow person remained motionless, its very presence a testament to the unknown forces that dwelled in the world. Summoning every ounce of courage, I slowly stood up, my gaze never leaving the figure. My heart pounded in my ears as I inched closer, my steps deliberate and cautious. The shadow person seemed to grow taller, its form elongating as if mirroring my movements. I reached out a trembling hand, my fingers hesitating just inches away from its form. A surge of dread coursed through me, a primal warning that touching this entity would unleash a horror beyond comprehension. But curiosity and fear battled within me, and against my better judgment, I let my fingertips brush against the darkness. Cold seeped into my skin, an icy chill that traveled up my arm. I jerked my hand back, a gasp escaping my lips. And then, in an instant, the shadow person was gone. The room returned to its normal state, the shifting shadows mere remnants of my encounter. I stumbled backward, collapsing onto the couch as reality crashed back over me. My heart raced, sweat clinging to my skin as I tried to comprehend what had just happened. The storm outside had intensified, rain battering against the windows in a furious dance. But it was the storm within me that raged with questions and terror. Was it a hallucination? A trick of the mind? Or had I truly encountered an entity from the beyond? The answers remained elusive, and sleep that night was an elusive dream, haunted by visions of the shadow person. In the days that followed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Everywhere I turned, the shadows seemed to whisper secrets, their movements taking on a life of their own. I began to question my own sanity, wondering if I had descended into madness. As the weeks passed, my life became a tense dance with the unknown. The shadow people returned, lurking at the edge of my vision, taunting me with their enigmatic presence. I felt their gaze on me as I slept, as I walked down empty streets, as I went about my daily routine. I sought answers, delving into ancient texts and obscure folklore. The more I learned, the more I realized that the shadow people were not a new phenomenon. They had been witnessed throughout history, their presence an eerie constant in the annals of the unexplained. But despite my research, the shadow people remained shrouded in mystery. Were they malevolent entities, lurking in the darkness to feed on our fears? Or were they simply glimpses into another realm, their existence overlapping with ours in eerie ways? One evening, As I gazed out the window, the rain falling like tears of the sky, I saw it again. A shadow person. But this time, it wasn't alone. More figures appeared, standing in the rain-soaked darkness, their forms shifting and merging in a hypnotic dance. I watched in morbid fascination as they moved, their movements synchronized in a macabre harmony. It was as if they were performing a ritual, a sinister spectacle hidden from the eyes of the living. As they continued their eerie dance, I realized that they were beckoning me, calling me to join them. The sensation was overwhelming, a magnetic pull that I couldn't resist. Despite the fear that coursed through me, a sense of inevitability settled in. I stepped outside, rain drenching my clothes, my heart pounding in my chest. The shadow people moved closer, their forms blurring together in a haunting crescendo. Their presence enveloped me, their cold touch sending shivers down my spine. And then, as suddenly as they had appeared, they vanished. The rain continued to fall, the world around me returning to a semblance of normalcy. But the experience had changed me, leaving an indelible mark on my soul. I knew that the shadow people were not mere figments of my imagination. They were something beyond comprehension, a reminder that the boundaries between our reality and the unknown were more fragile than we could ever imagine. As I stood there, rain mingling with tears on my cheeks, I realized that I would forever be haunted by their presence. The shadow people had become a part of my existence, a chilling reminder that the darkness held secrets that could never truly be understood.